Alright, my friends, new Saga episode number 7, and what an ending. I guess, how do you start the video? You know, demons show up at the end of the episode, and that was a surprise. And I have a lot of questions about that. Obviously, Kyle has a lot of feels internally when it comes to demons. And I'll pose the same question to you that I think out loud every time that demons, or, you know, some kind of humanoid demon is brought into the mix of any anime and any story is, are they that bad? Yes, I understand there was a war that happened between humans and demons. You know, some things are not premeditated, but like some things are like, you know, it's like a fate you can't ignore. Like there's like some kind of symbiotic hatred, or like some intertwined, you know, hatred, or like, you know, ingrained hatred that happens between races. But are they that bad? Can you not work with them? Is there a deal that you cannot have? Are they purely evil because they're evil? Did the humans spark some kind of something between them? Did they just try to take over the world because they're that evil? Was the demon lord that Kyle defeated that bad? There's a lot of questions that I have when it comes to demons. And the reason I bring that up is as Kyle has his first blush with this demon, obviously a lot earlier than even he could probably imagine. That kind of tells me two things. One, it tells me that the demons were orchestrating whatever they were orchestrating many, many years before it actually occurred, right? Because he's about 10 years off from the things that happened in his future. I think it's about 10, maybe give or take a little bit. So he's about 10 years off, you know, give or take a year or two, something like that. So the demons must have been doing whatever they were doing pretty early on. And what they took out was one of his mother's friends from the Empire, obviously a big figurehead in that empire. And based on what Sidonia said was that he's somebody who could have been like somebody, like he could have done supreme spells. So you know, he was very powerful already, but he could have become somebody even like really powerful. So are the demons taking out folks that could meet that criteria early to kind of help them, you know, through assassinations and stuff, kind of help them overcome the enemies that they have pre-existing? Again, I don't have answers, just simply questions, which is what makes this episode pretty good. But the big question really is like, so what's up with the demons? Are they like, can you not like, is Kyle's hatred so high, you know? And the answer is probably yes, but is his hatred so high, so hard, and so deep that he refuses to see the other side of the pond? And that's always the question I have with a lot of anime, right? Especially, you know, the ones that drive me the most bonkers are the isekai ones, where somebody came to this world and they weren't from here, and they kind of adopt the prejudice of the current regime or current race, whatever. But the ones that kind of go into like, what if I just meet the demon lord? Like, what if I just say, what's up? You know, what if I just go see what's up? You know what I mean? Like, are they that bad? Like, hey, I'm not here to start nothing. Kind of want to talk to you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. The rest of the episode, though, I thought was pretty cool. You know, the fact that he did get to meet, you know, unfortunately, this guy met his end, a gross end. But the fact that he got to meet somebody who definitely was crushing on his mom, which is weird. But, you know, he got to meet one of mom's old friends. That was pretty cool. You got to meet somebody in the Empire, and you got to meet somebody who was directly effective or directly affected the dragon riders that the Empire is known for, and somebody who kind of created that. I thought that was pretty cool. It also introduced another girl, and I forget what her name was. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It introduced another girl that's obviously from Kyle's past as well, because he was like, oh, this is the girl who was, you know, I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, oh, you know, she was in this kingdom before. Miranda was her name. I had to scroll through the video real quick. Miranda, he's like, oh, she was here before. He didn't quite cover, you know, was she a lady to him? You know, he didn't quite go into detail there. You know, but I guess that remains to be seen. And they did make it to this town. They met up with this dude named 𝐜𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥, which is a blacksmith. So it hinted at Theron potentially finding a similar sword or companion to or equivalent to Sidonia as well, which I think would be very cool. Which I bet you that's why the demons are here, dude. Like I bet you they're here because they also want to find this sword. If I had to put money on it, I guess I bet that's what it is, and they just happen to take out some powerful, big wigs along the way. And what else happened this episode? Let me see what else. I'm trying to think what else happened this episode that was of note. That made it pretty good. Oh, they also met with the blacksmith. The Theron thinking that it was a girl. His name's 𝐒𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭. Very pretty man, very pretty young boy. I like how 𝐒𝐻 is like, oh, yeah, I'm actually a boy. He's like, oh man, and he got defeated twice. And he's like, you got an older sister though, and he goes like, yes, I do. He's like, all right, we're back in the business. We're back in business, baby. And he's like, ooh, but she's married. At the end, he's like, ah. And then he hits him like real fast. Not hard, but I thought that was a really funny moment too. So overall, this was really good. It was a good setup episode. It was funny. There was a lot that happened this episode, and it kind of gave us hints to potentially what to expect. Some of the things that were like the missing links is what's going on with the the governor of this place. They were kind of MIA, and the guy who was his attendant was really wishy-washy about that, so that remains to be seen. It remains to be seen what 𝐻𝐻𝐷 is going to produce as far as a sword, or at least give them hints to maybe a similar sword. And then meeting 𝐒𝐻, obviously 𝐒𝐻 is the producer of those big golems that Kyle had faced or worked with in his past life, so he now is funding them as well. And then old man died, obviously, so we're going to see what has happening there, as Kyle either is going to immediately attack the demon or question it or something. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But good episode of New Saga. Not bad. I enjoyed it. So I'll see you guys next week. I think this episode, if I had to put a rating on it, definitely 7 out of 10. It was a good episode. Not great, not amazing, not masterpiece, but it was a good episode and I enjoyed it. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Put your comments down below. Hit me with a like. Peace out, my friends.